like that. But I think seasons like this,
Oh, absolutely.
where Kevin Keats puts on a
Players
master
that
class.
still have eligibility, want to stay.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think it'd be insane for the player not to come.
Apparently, this rumor got out that he went back home to France.
Right.
And the rumor got out that he was going to go pro.
Right, because he has serious
apparently
interest.
He's corrected everybody and said, I
He
never
did.
said that.
Yeah, so he didn't say he's back, but he did say that he's not. Yeah.
I mean,
He's a crucial part for next year.
He is, and whoever state can pick up.
Yeah, they had a couple visits this weekend.
One thing I'll say is State picked up. I'm a Louisville fan, so I know a decent amount about him.
Brandon Huntley Hatfield.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And he former 5-star rebound monster. So if we were to lose Jhyrah, it's a very good replacement where it's almost a similar role.
Oh yeah.
And even a little bit more polished.
I'd love to have both of them.
No, exactly.
Time.
Oh yeah.
Both of them, would really be nice.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a big issue in the past years have been rebounding for State. I mean, especially against Carolina, they just destroy us on the board. So to have two people like that could dominate the glass would be great.
I hope they can get them Middlebrooks to stay too.
Yeah, I mean, he was a great defender on Edey. I know he doesn't give a lot on offense, but I mean, he has.
I mean, he had his offensive games. He had 26 one game, 19 another.
Yeah, that was the Texas Tech was when he had the big game.
It's funny because it's almost like I wouldn't even say it was I mean, of course, Kevin Keats putting him in different positions that he wasn't in before earlier season, but it was almost like he had a new energy about him where it was this guy is smaller than me. Yeah, I'm actually going to take this ball instead of just sitting there and being okay, where's DJ Horn? Where's Jaden Taylor? He was I can actually go score the ball. And I don't know, it was exciting to watch where, I mean, you even said against Zach Edey, holding his own against
he held
player
Zach
of the
Edey
year.
to 2 points when he was being guarded by him, which is just incredible. We just couldn't get the ball to go in the basket.
Well, I went out to Stafford Commons and watched with, there were several of you all. Keegan was out there, Sam, Gatley.
I was at Dreamville, but I think Victor and KJ were also there.
Yeah, I didn't see them, but I saw it, and we were we must have missed 6 layups.
Oh yeah.
And so many wide open looks that just didn't go in the basket.
And then O'Connell gets hurt. I mean, it was just.
But I joke, look on the bright side. We didn't get slaughtered by UConn.
Yeah.
They would have slaughtered us. I'm sorry, but
I agree.
It was different from us in Houston.
Yeah.
That Houston team in '83 was not very well coached. They just went on sheer talent.
Yeah.
UConn is just another different animal.
No, I agree.
I don't think we.
I mean, that's probably one of the best teams I've seen. I just think that
Well, I told somebody that before that Purdue UConn game, the line was I think 6.5, and I told my mom and dad I wouldn't take Purdue in 10.
Yeah, no, I put money on UConn. I was like, oh, you're kidding me? It's only 6.5.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I could have put my whole bank account on it. I wouldn't have been worried.
That game went about like I thought it would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just they simply were just better than everyone else,
Really
I can't believe they lost 3 games. I mean, even that's.
I mean, most of their games they lost, I think, were in the first 10.
They only lost 1 game after Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was to Creighton,
who's a
pretty
solid team.
It was by a pretty good margin. I think they just had a very bad night.
Yeah.
But even when they had other games that they didn't play all that well, they still found a way to win.
Yeah.
And they won most of their games by double digits.
Yeah.
I mean, all their tournament games in back-to-back seasons have been by double digits. And this year, I think it was all by 13 or more.
Yeah.
Which. Yeah.
In the past 2 years, they won all their tournament games.
That's a record. The most tournament games won in a row by double digits.
I think
it's 11. Well, it was. Let's see. It would be 6 games each for 2 seasons. 12.
Yeah,
that's right.
Which is just insane.
Yeah, it's a record.
Especially considering, I mean, that team. We talked about this earlier this week. How that team 3 years ago didn't make the tournament. I mean, so.
A lot can turn around. Hopefully that can be us.
Yeah. Well,
back-to-back national championship. Oh my gosh.
I mean, it would be. I would love nothing better than for Kevin Keats to really get it rolling
Yeah.
and have several good seasons. Dave Doran is I think Dave Doran has just about, maybe not quite hit his ceiling, but he could do a little better. And I think he's got the possibility. But football's a whole different animal. You got to have.
I feel like football is a little bit less luck.
You got to recruit 20 and 30 good players instead of 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
So much of it is just luck.
Yeah.
The ball bounces this way instead of that way. You fumble the ball, and either you recover or the other. The little breaks.
I will say, I think the men's women's team definitely lit a fire under Doran, seeing that there's going to be huge expectations for him. I mean, I saw that in the spring game. I mean, they looked great. I mean, I wasn't able to be there, but I watched the highlights, and I mean, the players he's brought in have all delivered so far.
They have got an easy schedule next year.
Oh, absolutely. And when they play Tennessee, they're missing a bunch of their players for academic stuff. I think
really?
So
interesting.
I think they're missing 25 people.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So
out of
that game's in Charlotte as well. So
where we have never won.
Yeah.
Ever.
A good time to change that.
Time to change history.
This team and this schedule has 10 wins written all over it.
Yeah, I think that's the minimum expectation. Even I mean, I would assume that.
I know. It was this year or last that people really expected a lot, and they kind of. Yeah.
2 years, I think, was when.
Yeah.
They were ranked early on in the year, and they had college
game
day against Clemson and all that stuff.
When they came that close to losing to ECU in the opener.
Oh gosh, and the kicker missed.
They just laid a couple of eggs down the road. Lost at home to Boston College
on senior day as well. Yeah.
Oh, that was awful.
Yeah.
But maybe this. I think
there's magic in the air.
I think it is contagious.
Yeah.
I think it catches on.
When did y'all
winners?
When did y'all buy into like this NC State's basketball team? Like actually, like when did you think like they could make it this far? Because the
Final Four.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't think they could make it to the Final Four. I picked them to win one game.
Yeah.
Of course, I thought Kentucky was going to be our next opponent.
Yeah,
and I picked them to win.
After Marquette, I mean, I was very confident playing Duke. I didn't want to play Houston at all.
Yeah.
But I mean. The game against
round by round, I picked State over Duke.
Yeah, I mean, Oakland took us to overtime, and I mean, we could have easily lost that game very easily.
Yeah.
True.
But I mean, as far as like buying into them, me thinking they were good early on in the season, that game against BYU, we were winning for most of the game, and I was like, this team could be like very good. I mean, of course we blew that lead, but again, same thing with we played Tennessee. Very close. I was very excited for the ACC. We had the 6-1 start. I was like, this team could absolutely be a top 4 team.
5-1, and then they had, and then I was just thinking,
we had a losing record on the ACC if you don't count the tournament.
5-1, and we got Virginia Tech at home, who was shown 0, and they go and beat us.
I feel like I was one of the few, like in a sense of like I think after we beat UNC. I think me and Max recorded an episode. I think you said Sweet 16.
I said Elite 8 was our
ceiling.
And
then I was like, I don't know. For me, when I think about like a usual championship, like for March Madness, or at least a run, it has to be like a Magic. And I was like, I feel like State, like out of any other story in the country, we had the most. And I remember I said to Max, I was like, I'm only gonna say. I think we can make it to the Final Four simply because I don't want to say championship and then, we like end up losing like in the round of 32 and I just look stupid. So I was like, I'm going to say Final Four. But I was like, I fully believe we can make it to the championship. Yeah. But even then, like, I mean, like.
The women, I thought,
I thought we could win the championship.
They were great, but they had a little slump late in the regular season.
Yeah.
And they got out of it and just had a bad game in the ACC tournament.
Yeah, that one was tough.
And I thought, I think I picked them for the final 8.
Yeah.
We had a tough draw.
And then
a very tough draw.
I thought we're going to run into that 1 seed Texas and
Well, in Stanford as well. I mean, Stanford was also.
I was so surprised we beat Stanford. Honestly,
I hated that those two games were at the same time.
Yeah,
I was watching that Marquette game, and I was like, and I think State was down 10, and then I looked again, and
we're up like, a second. Yeah, we're up like 20 or
4, and then 15, and I missed it. And the Texas game, I was out with a friend of mine, kind of out in the boonies, again, kind of chasing critters and looking at plants and stuff. And my phone wasn't getting any internet.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know about things until the end of the third quarter when State was leading by 9 points.
No.
So that was the day I listened to the first half of the Duke game while driving back, and then came over to campus.
Yeah.
So I missed most of those women's games. I watched the highlights later.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like what game like out of like this whole entire run that stuck out to me the most
for women's.
I mean for both
I mean for us to beat we were beating Texas the entire game. That game stood out to me a lot.
That was what's so surprising.
I was like, I can't believe this team is a 1 seed. I mean,
yeah.
I know Isaiah had a great game, but I mean, it never really felt close. Mm-hmm. And the same thing could be said for Marquette. I mean, Marquette was like, oh, this team is going to dismantle us.
I thought so too.
I told you, I was like, I don't know. I feel like we're gonna like, I don't know. Again, for me, it was the magic where I was just like, I think they're a better team. But one thing I'll say about like Marquette, like I knew going into that game, their coach is like Shaka Smart. I love Shaka Smart so much, but he is known for having really good teams and then choking when it matters. So I was like, that's one thing going for us. But I was just like, I don't know. You could tell from like our players and when they had interviews, it wasn't even like they were kind of like I feel like usually when teams perform a lot better than they're supposed to, it's almost like a childish like type of happy where they're just like, enjoying a moment but not really thinking about it. Where it was like State fully knew and they were like, nobody believes we're supposed to be here and we don't want to go home and why not us? And, it was so like they understood the moment.
That Marquette game might have been the one that I think was the one I enjoyed watching the most.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Because they were just playing so well.
Yeah.
And
especially the first half.
Marquette even tried to make a run.
Just got steamrolled.
Yeah.
We're not winning this game.
Yeah. Of course, we were fortunate for them to miss all the 3-pointers and stuff.
They did.
But I mean, credit some of the defenders for getting out of the rhythm.
Exactly. Yeah. I think my favorite was probably the Oakland game.
That was.
It was too nervous for me. I did not like.
Really,
I hated that game.
I sort of did too because it seems to me what I remember in the second half was State would get a lead and then they would let them hit 2 threes back.
Yeah.
I mean that's what I was nervous for, just because I was like, this guy just showed us that he can run around. It doesn't matter how good you guard him, he can score. I was like, of course this guy's gonna have a great game.
Yeah.
I mean, he still had a pretty good game too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That game, I think one of my favorite moments of the whole tournament was State was up by 2 in the second overtime. And Jaden Taylor got a great pass for a wide open 3 and hit it. And he's been hot and cold all year. Sometimes people have ragged on him because he's not. And here he goes and hits the crucial dagger basket.
Yeah.
To nail it shut.
I think it'll be huge for us next year. I mean, I mean,
hopefully.
What do you mean, hopefully?
I mean, like I hope like he's not hot and cold. Like, I hope he can
I think
I hope he can be consistent.
It's always something about a player where like they take that next step where it's like you were good, but like greats like coming in every single day and being who you're supposed to be.
I think the fact that he got benched, he knows that he needed to step his play, and when he got benched, his play increased drastically. I mean, he was scoring 28 points and stuff like that off the bench. So, I mean, it's nice to have that spark, but I mean, the guys we're bringing in already, I'm very excited for. And if we can just add like 1 or 2 more guards, but the people we're looking at, I think, are perfect.
Yeah.
So I forget the guy from Indiana State. I don't know his name, but
Conwell was the guard.
Conwell,
from Indiana State
he would be fantastic. He's great at attacking the rim. Averaged like 19, 5 and 4. He's only a sophomore. and he got an early visit. And one of the main competitors was Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana just got Miles Rice, who was
True.
another guard. So
yeah,
I mean,